Hi, welcome to another episode of Bloodhouse, the show where we talk about art house horror films. I'm your host, Joshua Conkle.
And I'm your co-hostess. And I'm your co-hostess with the mostest, Drusilla Adeline. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you doing this week, Josh?
I am pretty good. My boyfriend's parents are in town from your hometown, Carmel, Indiana.
Oh my god, the in-laws. But from...
The in-laws, I've never met them.
You're gonna play a little game of Meet the Parents. Dodge any nipple and milking questions. What else have I learned from
I've been on my
movies?
best behavior. I've been on my best behavior. I wore my most heterosexual jeans. I not that they're homophobic. I don't know. I was just nervous, so I tried to dress like a little bit more conservatively because I'm sort of a flashy dresser.
You are.
Normally.
You're very much a clothes horse.
Yeah. And they're really lovely and nice and normal. His mom is a librarian, so she's a big reader, which I am too. And it's not that often that I get to meet people who read as much or more than I do. So it's exciting to talk about books.
Is she a librarian at the Carmel Library?
She is. I mean, she just retired, but she was, yes.
Oh my god. I've definitely met her then.
Yeah. I can tell you her name.
I probably wouldn't know it.
But, yeah.
I was going to say, if you want to make a good impression and like have some good small talk, roundabouts. Talk about roundabouts.
I'm writing this down.
Oh
yes, like literal roundabouts. They brought them up almost immediately because I guess the mayor of Carmel who's been mayor since the 90s is not running again for the first time. Since he's been mayor, and she's like, I suppose he put in enough roundabouts and he was done.
For those who don't know, Carmel, Indiana has more roundabouts than any other city in North America. Every single stoplight and interchange, including the on and off ramps to the highway, have been replaced with roundabouts. It's incredible, and I'm a big fan of it. It took years.
I love roundabouts. I was just about to say, I'm a big fan of roundabouts. I love them.
I mean, it's great.
No apology.
Yeah, it's a very pedantic thing to be like, this is the hill I die on. But coming from the one town in America that's very into it, I'm very into it.
Yeah.
And our library's currently in a former marsh, the supermarket, not the, like, swampy vegetation.
But both would be cool. A swamp library is a great idea.
I want like a Scooby-Doo swamp witch who has a library that you can go visit. That's what I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you can also, I'm trying to think of other like good Carmel landmarks and things to talk about. You can talk about the creepy statues. There's a lot of creepy statues around town that are buzzworthy. You can name drop great places like Bub's or Muldoon's and be like, you want to get a good burger over at Bub's and then a pint at Muldoon's.
I took them to dinner at Takes in Echo Park, which is our favorite local restaurant. It's like ancient French restaurant. And they brought up Muldoon's when we were there.
Honestly,
eventually I'll go to Carmel, Indiana, and you know that I'll be like live texting you every stop.
Honestly,
like,
please.
Here I am.
It's such a weird place. It's such like a specific kind of place to be from, especially in Indiana, that I never get to talk to people about it. So it pleases me to no end.
Yeah. What about you? What have you been up to?
I've had a lovely week. I've been very overworked, but I'm finally having some time off to kind of like acclimate. I've been getting super into my VHS tape obsession of late. I've started making VHS tapes.
Yes, I'm trying to think of what I want to commission you to make for me VHS wise. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I haven't figured out what it is yet.
Take your time. I have a bunch of blank tapes. I bought a bunch of like clear boxes and I've been designing labels for them, and I've also been making like tape pre-rolls, you know, when you'd put in like a tape from the 90s and it'd be like coming soon to home video. And it would have like a collection of trailers. I've been doing that, but more curated to the film. So if it's like a horror film, I'll be grabbing films from the same director or from the same subgenre to like lead you in, but I'm also pulling in like dumb 90s commercials that are also like
love this so much.
Fitting. So it's like you've got like a 5 to 10 minute pre-roll and then your movie. And it's so fun.
This could be a big business for you. Like I could imagine paying $100.
Well, that's illegal, and that's bootlegging, and I don't do that, and I've never done that, and I would never
Wink,
do
wink.
that ever. I would never do that. These are things that I
Really?
make for myself as an
Okay.
art project,
Mhm.
legally.
Okay.
A legal art project.
Everything's above board here.
Everything's above
listeners.
board here. No.
Snitches get stitches.
Yeah, exactly. Have you been watching anything of note lately, Josh?
I did watch something that really floored me, and I know that you've seen it. It is the Peter Bogdanovich film from 1968, Targets, which I had
Ooh.
never seen. I loved it so much. It's so disturbing, so well made. It's the best Peter Bogdanovich movie I've ever seen, which I've only seen two, so like tough contest. But
That and what else?
What's Up, Doc, which I hate.
You don't like What's Up, Doc?
I can't stand it. Barbara Streisand's performance in that is like nails across a chalkboard to me. I find it so grating. Yes, the chase scene in San Francisco is incredible. Yes, what's his
Ryan
name?
O'Neal
Ryan
is a
O'Neal
snack.
has never been hotter. Like no human has ever been as hot as him in that movie. But her performance is just like such a nuisance to me. I can't take it. But this I loved.
Yeah. Bogdanovich is a fucking great director. And like he never really
This is
did
his
other
first
horror.
movie. Yeah,
Or is
this
that
is his
thriller, I
first
guess?
movie. I guess it's a thriller. But basically, listener, if you've never seen it, there are two stories running parallel. One is Boris Karloff in his last role, playing a version of himself as this sort of world-weary horror matinee actor from the past who's about to retire. And then the other story is about like a squeaky clean Vietnam vet who's struggling with these homicidal urges and is about to go on a mass shooting spree. And these stories converge at a drive-in movie theater where Boris Karloff is doing a personal appearance for his last film. And it's super shocking and upsetting and beautifully made and very spare and quiet. There's no music during the mass. There's a scene where he's like on a hill and he's shooting at random people driving on the freeway. And it's so disturbing. This is like sort of a name drop, but I don't mean it to be.
Go ahead.
I don't mean to be gross about it. But listeners may know that I'm friends with Danny DeVito, who loves fucked up movies. And so I texted him, "Have you seen Targets by Peter Bogdanovich? I think you'd love it." And he's like, "I saw that in the 60s. Let me rewatch it tonight." And then he called and he was like, "We're going to remake it immediately." He's like, "You're going to write it. I'm going to be the Boris Karloff. We're going to remake this. I'm looking for the rights right now, but I'll watch it tonight just to make sure." And the next day he called me and was like, "I don't think that we can remake this."
Yeah.
I was like, "No, I don't think so either, Danny. But thank you for your vote of confidence."
But I love the because like Peter Bogdanovich also plays like a young up and coming director who's like working with Karloff throughout the movie.
Oh yes.
And he's like great. He's a very good actor.
He's really good. Yeah.
But I love the idea of like you and Danny DeVito playing those two parts together. That's so wholesome to me and so cute.
I mean, I'll always work with Danny DeVito. I love him so much, but I don't think that this is the project.
Yeah, I love Targets. Targets has aged beautifully, but you could never remake Targets.
Yeah. No way. It's so good, though.
It's so good. I am a big fan of Peter Bogdanovich. I saw Last Picture Show in high school and it fucking depressed the shit out of me.
Oh, I love The Last Picture. I forgot about that. That's playing at the New Bev this month.
It is. I saw it at the New Bev earlier this year after he passed away. I do love that movie. Cloris Leachman's incredible.
Brilliant.
In that.
Brilliant movie.
And my mom showed me Paper Eat Moon very young. I love that movie.
Oh my god, I love Paper. I didn't know these movies were Peter Bogdanovich. I'm a huge fan of Paper Moon. I love The Last Picture Show, so I guess I am a Bogdanovich stan.
You just don't like his Babs film, which is understandable because he didn't enjoy Babs during the making of that film, so fine.
She's so obnoxious.
And she also doesn't like that movie. But like, I love that movie. I think it's a delight. But like, I love his movies, and I like grew up watching a lot of his stuff. But I had no clue he made Targets. I had no clue it existed. I thought he just like interviewed famous directors, and then one day he made Last Picture Show, and that was the beginning of everything. But like, I went to, as some people may know, my introduction to horror was at Chicago Horror Festival, like 24-hour things. And in the middle of the night at one of them, they put on targets. And I was like, Paramount logo. Okay. And then, like, it's the opening of the movie is the last few minutes of The Terror, the Roger Corman movie. And I was like, did they screw the reels up? What is this? What's happening? Because this is The Terror. What's going on? And then the rest of the title cards came up, and I was like, what the fuck is Targets? Peter Bogdanovich? What is happening? And it was so in no way in that I expected. It is still very shocking, and it's kind of hard to find.
Yeah, I mean, that what you just mentioned, the opening is really interesting because this is a Roger Corman movie, and talk about a man who knew how to stretch a dime. He was like, sure, Peter Bogdanovich, I'll let you make a movie, but you have to use a certain amount of footage from one of my flop movies, The Terror, which weirdly stars Jack Nicholson in one of his first roles. You see like Jack Nicholson in the background in a movie within the movie. It's just really interesting. I love Roger Corman. I would is there a podcast about Roger Corman and like his entire career? Because if not, there should be.
I don't know, but yeah, there should be. That man, literally almost 1,000 movies he's had his fingers in. Like,
yeah. And birthed so many filmmakers through his like sort of generosity / exploitation of labor. Like gave so many opportunities to directors who went on to be incredible, including Francis Ford Coppola and Peter Bogdanovich and
Jonathan Demme and John Sayles and Jack Nicholson and Dennis Hopper and Peter Fonda, and like it's ridiculous. We owe so much of like modern film language to this one man who's still alive, and he's a fucking sweetheart, and he's so nice.
Oh, that's so good to hear.
He's an absolute saint.
Love him.
So
what about you?
Well, after last week's episode, in which you joined in the chorus of many people around me in my life berating me to see a recent release horror film, I finally went to go see Barbarian.
Ooh, what did you think?
So, first, I would like to thank everyone for recommending me to go see this movie. However, I will also state everyone's recommendations are not why I saw this movie. I was just like putzing around, and I was like scrolling through Letterboxd or something, and I saw that I was like, oh, I wonder who directed Barbarian. I've never like looked into it enough to like think about that. And when I saw that Barbarian was written and directed by Zach Cregger, aka one of the founding members of the Whitest Kids You Know, the like post 9/11 mid 2000s sketch comedy group that I was very into when I was in like middle school, I was like, oh, okay, all right, this recontextualizes this movie for me. I'm going.
Yeah.
And it was with that knowledge, it was exactly what I hoped it would be, which was inventive, wild, and fucking hilarious.
Yeah. I could not have loved it more. I just loved it.
I had a lot of fun. I went with a good group of friends, and the beginning does such a great job of reeling you in with great tension, great suspense, very good performances. A good amount of mystery, a basement that reminds me a lot of my uncles that I grew up inside of.
Oh no! Oh
no! Also, quick tangent. My great aunt's house in like southern Indiana, near like the border with Kentucky. It's like a farmhouse with like a couple acres of land around it, and it used to be part of the Underground Railroad, so it has tunnels that run underneath the house and through the basement and stuff like that. And so we grew up playing around, stuff like that. So when we got into things that are similar to that in Barbarian, I was like, nostalgia. But it very quickly it keeps all of its tension, it keeps all of its thrills, but it also gets fucking hilarious.
It's so funny and wild and actually scary. I mean, it scared me a number of times.
I didn't find it too scary, but I thoroughly enjoyed the suspense, and I even more loved the comedy. There was a whole not to spoil anything, but there's a whole bit with the tape measure, which I thought was incredible.
Justin Long's performance is like chef's kiss.
Yeah.
I mean, he plays such a good Hollywood monster.
He puts everything into that, and it's lovely. He has a moment in the film where he offers a bit of pathos, one would say. And the movie basically laughs in his face 2 seconds later. And I love that. I love that. I think it's hilarious. It was a very, very fun movie. I had a blast seeing it. However, I also want to mention another movie that is out now at the same time. And after we left Barbarian, we went outside, got back in line, got tickets, and went in to go see How They Run.
Oh, yeah. I've been hearing about this.
It's a new murder mystery from Tom George, who made the British series This Country, which is very good.
Yeah,
and it stars Saoirse Ronan and Sam Rockwell. And I love Sam Rockwell ever since Charlie's Angels. And it is based around a production of Agatha Christie's The Mousetrap, which is a very, very famous play in London's West End, which has been going since the 40s, if I'm not mistaken, or if not the early 50s.
You're right.
And it's still going. And it's never been made into a film because there's been a clause in the production contract that they're not allowed to make an adaptation of the story until the play closes, and the play has never closed.
Wow.
So it's never been like spoiled still somehow miraculously. And See How They Run doesn't spoil it either, but it builds an entire beautiful, super well designed in that very like Paddington, Wes Anderson, Knives Out kind of visual language. A really inventive, fun, and funny murder mystery that pays so much homage to Agatha Christie stories and characters. There's little like nuggets and references and jokes and Easter eggs to her writing all throughout this movie, and it made me so fucking happy. I haven't like had that much fun and laughed that much at a murder mystery since like Murder by Death and Clue and stuff like that. I had it's not as like silly as Clue, but it's still very, very funny, very, very inventive. The reveal, the like killer reveal that you have to get at the end of every whodunit isn't shocking, but it's very satisfying. And this movie does something in its killer reveal that I strongly appreciate, because as much as I adore Agatha Christie and her writing, and I think she's incredible, I also do have some qualms with her writing and her use of certain things to amplify her writing, which I take umbrage with. And this movie does too, while also celebrating her. And I think that's important and incredible, and great. And I loved it. And I think
and sophisticated. It's like you can take umbrage with a work from the past without destroying it. You know what I mean? You could be like, I love this, and yet here are these elements which have aged poorly, or it's not that hard to do that, and I feel like people lose sight of that. It's like you have to cancel 16 Candles because it has racism and rape in it, but it's like those are bad and those have aged poorly, but I also grew up with 16 Candles and I like the movie, and here's why. You know what I mean? Like you can do both things at once. That's only the example I could think of. It's not a good comp, but I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. You lose sight of that sometimes. Yeah,
I think it's a really nuanced discussion of Agatha Christie's like importance, while also being like super subtle to the movie, and the movie's just about having fun and laughing, and it's a love letter to murder mysteries, it's a love letter to books, it's a love letter to the theater, and it's a love letter to movies, and
love that.
It just felt made for me. I loved it, and more people should go see it. It's not getting a lot of marketing. Please see it. It's tons of fun.
I'm going to see that. Shall we?
Shall we once more into the breach? Yes, we shall, with a movie that I made
nervous.
You watch.
I'm so frightened to talk about this. This movie is directly or indirectly about almost everything that I am anxious about as a person living in 2022 and try to avoid talking about on this show or online or in life, except very privately with my closest friends.
I mean, so we're just two people talking here. Disregard these microphones.
Let us discuss from 2018, written directed by Sam Levinson of Euphoria fame, Assassination Nation.
Pew pew pew.
My name is Lily Colson, and I'm 18 years old. These are my three best friends, Em, Bex, and Sarah. And this is the story of how my town, Salem, lost its mind.
So, Drusilla, you picked this. Why? Why
did.
You like this movie, I think, right?
I do like this movie, and I like how you said that, because I didn't know people didn't like this movie.
I looked at Letterboxd halfway through the movie last night, and I was like, ooh, people hate this movie.
So, I've seen this movie like 4 or 5 times. I've logged in on Letterboxd every time, but I never checked the movie's page on Letterboxd to see what other people are saying. And I didn't until last night when I saw you kind of commented that, ooh, people on here hate this movie. And I was like, what? And I read and I was like, oh, people online don't like Assassin. Weird. That makes sense.
Well, it is. I mean, we'll talk about it. It is a direct criticism of people online. So.
Yes, it is.
It makes a lot of sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
So I remember seeing the marketing for this movie, and I love the poster and the Godard font, and I was immediately like, ooh, that looks interesting, but I don't know what that is. And it was out in theaters for like a week and then went away. It was released by Neon, but this was like before they had I, Tonya, before Portrait of a Lady on Fire, before Parasite. So like it didn't get a lot of buzz or release, and it just kind of like didn't go anywhere. But I love Hari Nef. I think she's incredible. I like Suki Waterhouse as a performer, and like Hari Nef is also like a huge cinephile and like has incredible film taste. And so I was like, oh yeah, like a few years after the movie came out, I was like, oh yeah, she did do that like movie with the girls on the posters with the matching red leather trench coats and a bunch of guns. Oh, I should see that movie. I wonder what that movie's about. And it was on like Hulu or something. And I watched it having no context for what it was. And I fucking loved it. I like maybe 20 minutes into it, there's a bit where our main 4 girls are walking into their high school, and Hari Nef stops and says, I love this song. And they're like, what song? And she's like, this song. And then the diegetic music plays.
Yeah.
And then they walk in with this big epic moment. And I immediately was like, oh, I'm sold on this. This is going to be incredible. And I paused it, called up a friend, and I was like, you need to come over and watch this movie with me. Waited for her to come over, started the movie over again, and we watched it together. And loved it. I've always pitched it to people as like Heathers by way of Straw Dogs.
That's good. Yeah, that's good, I think.
And like everyone that I've shown it to under those contexts, and we've had conversations before, during, and after watching it, have all enjoyed it. So my perspective of this movie has always been people never saw it because it was poorly marketed. And then when it finally came out, it was starting to build a cult audience, because everyone that I've talked to about it has been like, oh yeah, I fucking love that movie. Cool. I've got a copy of it. It's so great. Or I'd bring it up to other people and they're like, what? That's a weird title. And I'm like, you probably wouldn't like it then. So I didn't know it had a reputation for being not great, which is interesting to me. Of course, Sam Levinson has gone on to make Euphoria, which is very funny to, if you watch Euphoria, to then go back and watch Assassination Nation, because he's been repeating himself quite a lot. So much of Assassination Nation has been cannibalized into Euphoria. Like, marching bands down suburban streets. Like...
Yeah.
like similar visual languages, similar like set pieces of like people trying to break into bathrooms and like teenage high school girls having like one-on-one conversations with principals and like getting one over on them by using very like witty feminist Twitter language, and like they're very, very similar. The only difference is Euphoria is going for melodrama and this movie is going for like somewhere between Seijun Suzuki, Sam Peckinpah, and like Dario Argento.
Yeah. So maybe that's a good place to stick a little bit of a synopsis. So Odessa Young plays Lily Colson, a teenage girl who lives in a small town called Salem. And she has three best girlfriends: Bex, played by Hari Nef, who's wonderful; Sarah, played by Suki Waterhouse; and M, played by, is it Abra or Abra?
I think it's Abra.
I don't know.
She's a singer.
Yeah, I figured by the single name, share style. So Lily is just sort of a somewhat typical teenage girl in a typical American town. She is hiding in a text message affair with an older man who she calls Daddy, who we don't see until a key moment in the film. But basically, the movie revolves around a series of data leaks in this small town. So first, it's the mayor, then it's the principal, and then like half of the town's private messages and emails and all that, and text messages and those sorts of things get leaked. And it sort of turns into halfway through a version of The Purge, basically.
Yeah.
And it all gets pinned on Lily and her friends. And so the whole town is coming after them. I will go on record as I really enjoyed this movie. I liked it a lot. I didn't know anything about it going in. I haven't seen Euphoria beyond the pilot, which didn't particularly grab me for some reason. And I enjoyed it. I'm scared to talk about it because it's directly about a lot of things that make me very anxious and that on one hand really want to talk about, but on the other hand, I'm afraid to talk about because I feel like I'm on the wrong side of these issues in this particular cultural moment. Some of those are trigger warnings, identitarian politics, privacy concerns in the day of, the internet in this day and age. I don't know. Let's just start at the beginning. The movie opens with a joke about trigger warnings.
Yes.
Which I pulled it up, actually, the list.
Please. So this movie opens with, like, it's got a little bit of a preamble, and then Lily, Odessa Young's, like, opening narration kind of gives you a list of trigger warnings about the film, and then it gives you, like, a super cut of scenes from later in the movie over some of these it's triggers. Very flashy, and it says this film opens with a montage of this is from the Wikipedia. This film opens with a montage of trigger warnings that show brief scenes depicting topics including bullying, blood, abuse, classism, death, drinking, drug use, sexual content, toxic masculinity, the male gaze, homophobia, transphobia, guns, nationalism, racism, kidnapping, murder, attempted murder, swearing, torture, violence, gore, weapons, and fragile male egos. Yes.
So that gives you a taste of what you're going to get. Those things are, in fact, in the movie. I got the sense that the movie was making fun of the idea of trigger warnings, which I felt conflicted about because it felt a little edgelord-y. But I'll be frank, I'm somebody who doesn't believe in trigger warnings and has been quietly praying that they go away. So I was like sort of on the fence about that choice.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's important to discuss the content of something beforehand. Sure, that's, yes, important. I also think, so this movie's sense of humor is a big sticking point, it seems, for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And this section being like one of the first things that you see and experience in the movie is very much a like litmus test for how you're going to react to the rest of the movie. If you think this like rundown and these clips and this list is a funny way of introducing this movie, you're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
If you think that that's trite or edgelordy or shitty or in bad taste, turn the movie off. And that's kind of what they're doing with setting those up. Kind of being like, if you're gonna be upset by us presenting these things and kind of like having like a dark winking tone around it, this movie's not for you, please leave.
Well, it kind of did both for me.
Yeah.
Because I did think it was funny. As I said, frankly, I'm not in favor of trigger warnings. But I also was immediately like, okay, I'm 40 years old. Sam Levinson is not quite as old as me, but in his 30s. Like, is this movie going to be older people like me laughing at Gen Z? And so I was set up with a concern about an insecurity, I guess, about myself watching this movie. Does that make sense?
I feel like this movie is intentionally doing that. I feel like this movie is intentionally being like, hi, are you over the age of 30? Should you be watching this movie? Let's find out. Yeah. I feel like that's a lot of
that's how I felt
the tone of it. I also feel like, so one of my takes on the sense of humor in this movie is that it's incredibly true to life to like 18 to like 25-year-old girls. Mm-hmm. Like, I know so many people in my life who are like very caring for their friends, very cautious around them, will like inform them of things beforehand, and will also like make similar jokes about trigger warnings. Mm-hmm. That's the thing about this movie, is that it like captures the tone and like point of view of its four main characters very well, and presents it outwardly in a way that is both like celebratory, scandalizing, and mocking all at the same time. And it's kind of your job to like sit with that and like parse it out, being like, why did I find that funny? Why did I find that sexy? Why did I find that shocking? Why did I find that upset? And it's not a like, I don't find this a very like edgelordy, think piecey, like, oh, think about the world, man, kind of movie. I think of it as it's intended to be, as kind of, I think it's intended to be as like an entertaining, fun exploitation look at these contemporary topics.
I just have to be really vulnerable about this because there's no other way to talk about it. As I get older, it's hard to get old because I still think of myself as a cool, interesting person, and nobody wants to feel like they're old and out of touch. I'm insecure about saying that I have a lot of anxiety about Gen Z and the way that I see them behave in the world. And this movie at the beginning, I was like, oh my God, thank God these girls are cool and funny and I like them. Like, phew. Like, I was afraid that I was going to be getting something else. Similar, I thought about Bodies, Bodies, Bodies a lot in the way that it handles Gen Z, which is another movie I liked very much. So I was like sort of pleased to be like, oh, thank God these girls are mean and cool like we were. You know what I mean? Like, my feeling about Gen Z, fairly or unfairly, is that they seem conservative to me in a way that is a little shocking. I think that they seem to, and emphasis on seem to, have really alarming ideas about consent and morality, and they seem to be a bit punitive, like they want to punish people. They have this weird obsession with age gaps that who knows where comes from, and that's directly addressed in this movie. And I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm expressing my insecurity about being an older person watching them become adults, because it's scary because they come for you, which is why I'm scared to talk about these movies, this movie in this way.
I don't really...
And the movie just directly addresses all of this.
It does.
So that's...
And this also, like, this movie came out in 2018, but it was also, like, written in 2016. So this movie is very ahead of the curve. And, like...
Yes. And all of these
aged very
issues
well.
have gotten... Yes, all of these issues are more at the front of our cultural discussion than they were in 2018 because of pandemic and Black Lives Matter and like all of these sort of issues have made all of these things more front and center.
Mm-hmm. And like justifiably so. I think that this movie does a very, very, very good job kind of getting at the like ills of like modern online culture. I don't think it's specifically targeting generational. I don't think this movie is in any way, shape, or form looking generationally. I think it's looking at what like internet masking and the way that has an effect on people's empathy. I think it's looking at that, and I think it's looking at masculinity. I think those are the two things that this movie is like looking at with a critical eye. But I think it's looking at both of those things from the eye of a like 20-year-old girl who is going to be like pissed and fucked up and depressed about all of those things. And the only way to express those things is with dark humor. Yeah. And that's from all the girls that I know that are like in that age range. And we talk about these things. We talk about how like awful it feels to be in these situations, how often we've been in these fucking situations, how like conflicted and locked in we feel by online discourse, and how much we fucking hate online discourse and stuff like that. And we talk about it with a very like dark, acerbic, like nihilistic sense of humor, because like that feels like the only way of actively expressing the emotion in a way that's like safe and not like, you know, you're gonna break down in fucking tears because you're like you're young. You don't want to be that honest and vulnerable, but you still want to like talk about these things. And I think this movie does a really good job of taking those anxieties and those stresses about so many aspects of modern life. And I don't think this movie is looking at any sort of generational divide, and I don't really see a generational divide. Like, everyone's so held up on, like...
I came to this movie with that expectation.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Like, I brought that.
Yeah.
Which is why I meant to say, like, I was relieved that, you know, there's a great scene where, after the principal's data is leaked, he has photos of his little girl in the bathtub taking a bath. And so the whole town sort of like paints him as a child molester. And our protagonist, Lily, to her parents is like, he just had, like, you have a photo of me at 2 years old naked on the mantle. Like, that doesn't make someone a child molester. So the movie really undercut my anxiety about Gen Z. And I was grateful for that. I really loved the character Lily. I found her really relatable.
Mm-hmm.
And I was relieved to see that the young people in this movie were pushing against the kind of mass moralization that was happening in town. So
what I love about this
really
movie
put my anxiety away
is that like one of the problems that everyone I know has with like modern internet era is the overarching mass moralization of everything.
I hate it.
Which is unfairly being pushed as a thing in the world, especially if you're on Twitter, as being a thing that is stemming from Gen Z. It is not stemming from Gen Z.
Totally guilty of.
In any way, shape, or form. It is stemming from the, like, internet. It is extending from, like, the nature of the internet and the way people use the internet to manipulate people's perspectives on things and to lead to, like, group thought and stuff like that. Super fucking upsetting and super fucked up. And because because younger people who are very young to the internet are just like, as individuals, reflecting what they're seeing around them. Like, that is how we like build our personalities and our like sense of self for in that like adolescent time period, are just going to be more vocally like echo chambers for that kind of thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is not that. The problem is what's being sent to them and what the fuck's on the internet and how the fuck people are treating one another. And that's the thing that the movie's getting at, because the villains of this movie are, by the end of the movie, are like the fucking middle-aged men and the teenage boys.
Yes. Yeah. The movie makes a great point. At some point you get Lily's interior monologue, and she says, I read something once that said 20% of the population is cruel, 20% is, I don't know what the word she uses, kind, or some synonym of that. And then the other 60%, I think it was like 10% and 10%.
Yeah.
10% cruel, 10% kind, and the other 80% could be swayed either way. And I think that that's true. I mean, I have to tell you, when I worked in advertising, I would watch focus groups, just like you see in movies where you're behind the mirror or whatever, and you watch people talk. And literally every single focus group, people would be really positive, and then there would be one loud person who would be like, I don't like it because of this. And then immediately all the other people would be like, oh, actually, you know what? You're right. And so then no one would like it because of one loud person.
Yep.
It really explains the phenomenon that got us Trump, the way that the internet works with favoring the algorithms, favoring, like negative discourse. It's just so striking. And this movie deals with that, I think, really cleverly.
This movie also like gets at something that's very personal to me, which is like people of a certain demographic, i.e. like certain marginalized communities, including women, and trans women, and queer women, experience like an almost constant amount of harassment in their lifetime, especially like as a young person. And because of that, are forced to build more empathy and become more well-rounded individualist people with like wider views of the world and stuff like that. And not everyone else around them has that same baggage and does not have that same amount of empathy. So it's harder for them to find safe places other than with other people who've gone through similar amounts of trauma. There's a really fucking horrifying scene in this movie. There's a lot upsetting in this movie. There's a lot of
this movie
stressful fucking shit in this movie.
Deeply upsetting. It is as upsetting, I was saying to Drew before we started recording, as Last House on the Left, as, I Spit on Your Grave. It has an element of like a rape revenge fantasy movie. So just know that.
There's a sequence in which Hari Nef is being chased through the streets by male teenage football players that are like actively targeting her for being a trans individual. And she runs up to a like affluent house in their affluent neighborhood and is banging on the door to be let in for safe harbor. And as she's being like dragged away by these men, you just see the woman who lives in the house slowly back away from the door. And that is one of the most like gut-wrenching, stomach-dropping sequences I've ever fucking seen.
Yeah, I mean, it happens in Halloween 1978, right? But it's scarier in this version because it has that identity element to it. Like she's specifically not being let in because of who she is.
There's
it's really upsetting.
There's so many really, really upsetting things like that. There's a lynching setup. I'm not gonna say a lynching scene because a lynching doesn't happen. This is a movie that I'm like willing to like spoil some elements of just to let people know that it's not that bad. When my friend and I went into watching it the other evening, I was like, I'm gonna let you know all of these things about this movie so that you don't get too stressed out.
Well, the movie tells you in the first 5 minutes, as we discussed.
Yeah.
It shows you.
But I was also like, I mentioned like the ending that the trigger warning joke thing doesn't mention of who survives this movie, basically. I was like, so you can just keep that in the back of your mind, and so when all these stressful things happen, it's not going to be that bad. Which I think is important to kind of know with this movie, because like you don't want to see a trans woman murdered in this movie. That would push it over the edge. That would be too far. But there's a fucking like really, really upsetting like lynching setup sequence with a noose and a pickup truck that's rolling smoke. Which, oh fucking god, it's like always incredibly hard to watch. But this movie also like has like, to what you're saying about like all those revenge films, it also has that kind of like audience cheer kick-ass moment of like redemption, of like fuck these people up, and like watching these women like step up and take it back. There's a sequence, not to keep harping on Hari Nef, because she's, I might be biased.
She's incredible.
But she's incredible in this movie and is my favorite character.
You're not biased.
In this movie.
I had no idea who she was, and after her first scene, I looked up, like, who is this girl? She's a star. She really is a standout in this movie. I mean, Odessa Young as protagonist Lily is also extremely good, but other than her, Hari Nef really is...
Hari Nef has a sequence in a pool that is one of the most exciting things.
So good.
And the way I just, like, get giddy and cheer through that whole sequence is fucking kick-ass. I love that. It's so fucking dope.
I mean, it's just let's be honest, it's a delight to watch teenage girls kill men.
Yes it is.
I mean, what a joy.
But also, like, other than like the sleepaway camp movies, we've never gotten a trans character doing this, and we've never gotten a trans actress doing this in a way that's like supportive and not like the villain. And it's awesome. It's so fucking kick-ass. And Hari Nef also has a lot of like great speeches. Not speeches, but like great quippy like lines of dialogue in this movie where people are like mentioning all of these leaks going on and things, and her just immediate shutdown of like, nope, that's fucking shitty. Shut the fuck up. Like, I love her so much. There's a character in this movie who one of the leaks reveals that despite their incredibly conservative, homophobic and transphobic politics, was leading a very closeted life behind closed doors that was like living out like cross-dresser fantasies as like a fetishistic thing, while also enacting like incredibly conservative homophobic
yes, this is the mayor, the first person.
And that person, you know, suffers a severe fate, and a lot of the girls are sitting around by the poolside and are kind of like, ooh, I feel bad for him, that's kind of far. And Hari Nef's like, nope, sorry, I don't fucking feel bad for him in any way. This man hurt trans and queer people his entire life while fetishizing their existence. I don't feel fucking bad for him one bit. And I was like, yep. Yep.
That scene, I'm trying not to spoil it, but that scene with the mayor was part of one of the most upsetting things to me, because the most traumatic thing I've ever seen in my life was in the 90s. There was a internet video that went around, which was an old tape of a politician named Bud Dwyer doing that, and it is still in my life, the one thing that I wish I hadn't seen. Yeah. Like, I wish I could unsee that. And it was, you know, the 90s, so people would send you like a link or be like, watch this, and you would have, I mean, this is still true.
Yeah, you wouldn't know what it is.
It's just, you just don't know what it is, and so you click through and you're like, and then like I think about seeing that all the time, and so this movie is like directly referencing it, so I was like, I need a trigger warning for this. But yeah.
What's even more upsetting is that nowadays, those things are GIFs.
I know.
A friend of mine sent me a GIF of exactly that moment. Like, I didn't know who that politician was, and a friend of mine made a joke in regards to self-harm, using that man's name, and I was like, huh? And then sent me a GIF of that, and I was like, ew, no!
That's awful.
Jesus!
Well, the most upsetting thing about it, and this movie is directly talking about this, is the people's reaction online to this happening. People are saying all sorts of awful things, but this moment in particular, like LOL and shit like that, you're seeing being typed.
Watermarking hashtag fail over the clip, and like,
that element of this movie is really upsetting and probably true to life, unfortunately.
That's the thing about this movie that's the most upsetting, is that this movie is incredibly stylized. It's, again, if you know Euphoria, it's a very similar visual language. Beautiful colors. They do a great job of like color coding our main four girls. And any scene that Odessa Young is in, she always has this nice pink filter over herself and over the whole room, which kick-ass. I love it so much. Hari Nef gets a nice strong red all the time. Abra gets a really strong blue in a lot of her scenes. It's like very, very well done. There's a great long tracking shot in this movie around the house that calls to mind a very similar one from Argento's Tenebrae, which is, it's so fucking impressive in this, and it's so well designed to like ratchet up the suspense.
Yeah.
But despite all of the incredible visual language and style, and it's like very much style over substance in those ways, which we adore, so much of this movie is so fucking real and is so close to things that I have experienced, so close to things that friends of mine have experienced, that it is deeply hard to watch. Like, I know for a lot of people, this movie can be seen as like, you know, a like angry teen girl movie in the same vein as like Jawbreaker or Heathers, or it can be viewed as like a thriller, kind of like The Purge or fucking, I guess, John Wick or Straw Dogs or any of those like grab up the guns, go shooting kind of movies. I see this as a horror movie, like through and through. It takes a while for it to get to the like ultra violence level that it gets to, and this movie has a lot of blood, a lot of inventive ways of murdering people. But even before we get there, there's sequences of teenage boys pinning down their girlfriend in a like gym locker room. Like, it's super fucked up and super upsetting. Should we also mention another member of the cast that the internet loves? Oh yeah, Joel McHale's in it.
Oh, no, not Joel. If you've ever wanted to see Joel McHale rape a teenage girl, now's your chance.
In his daughter's bedroom. Oh god. Oh. Fuck.
Who are you going to talk about?
I was going to talk about someone who's in this movie, who the internet loves to hate. Bella Thorne is in this film.
Yes, which I didn't know until after the movie, because truth be told, I don't really know who Bella Thorne is.
I didn't know who Bella Thorne was other than her name on the internet until I saw this movie.
Yeah, same. I mean, I just hear people talking shit about her on the internet. I don't know who she actually is.
But the best part about this movie is that if you don't like Bella Thorne because you're on the internet and you know what she's done to OnlyFans and shit like that, and you don't think she's a person that you enjoy, you'll enjoy Assassination Nation, in which she plays like the absolute peak super bitch of the high school.
Yeah, she sucks. That character sucks.
She has a great freaking sequence where she talks about how a 40-year-old man in Minnesota subscribes to her Amazon wish list and will just send her things because he found her on Instagram. Yeah. And all the other girls are laughing at her this entire time. And they're like, why is he doing that? Other than the obvious, he's a fucking pedophile. And she's like, you know, I just think that people see my aura and my energy, and it's just like really inspiring, because like not every person like is born with the ability to just like go for it and be like who they want to be in this life. And like it's really sad, but like if I can give anyone that little bit of inspiration for the day, my job is done. And I'm like, you fucking suck, honey. And she's also done something really, really awful.
Yes. But she also, in that same scene, addresses my concerns directly, where she's like, old people just haven't let go of the idea of privacy in the age of the internet. Like, if they understood that privacy no longer existed, things would be a lot easier. Like, so that's exactly my concern and what this movie is about. Like, the idea of privacy in the age of the internet, and how you can be exposed in such a way that makes people come after you in a way that's sort of mob justice, unfair. I'm trying to avoid the term cancel culture because I hate it so much.
And this movie's not about cancel culture.
No.
In any way, shape, or form. The phrase is never mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
But yeah, again, like,
it's like
that her being the mouthpiece for that idea, I think also situates that this movie is also like, yeah, that's fucking bad. That's a bad take, honey. Like,
yeah,
privacy is needed. But I mean, like, this movie does also posit the idea of like, what would the world be like if no one had any secrets? And its answer to that question is fucked up. Because there's the very idealistic thing of, like, if we didn't have any secrets from one another, we could be more honest and open with each other all of the time. But it's like, okay, cool. However, we live in a capitalist, freaking, heteronormative, masculine-driven society. The amount of, like, vicious, violent repercussions from that before you got to any kind of, like, honesty and openness is not going to be worth the price.
Yeah.
There's a really, really impactful scene in this movie near the end when everyone's going mob justice, and this vigilante mob is, like, going after these teenage girls, and they're screaming that they're gonna take back the town. They're taking it back. It's their town now. They're taking it back. And the entire, like, my whole thing is, like, you're taking it back from who? You vigilante mob are all the, like, middle-aged white men who are the, like, upstanding citizens and the police and the mayors and the fucking, like, and the... You're not taking it back from anyone. You are the white men who have been in charge this entire time. You got disrupted one time. You got upset one fucking time. And this is the level to which you're taking out your anger, your shame, and your guilt. And this is who you're taking it out on?
Well, they're reacting to a world in which the internet is sort of ungoverned. There's a great scene where a local policeman is on the phone with the FBI trying to get them to do something. And they're like, what do you expect us to do? It's the internet.
Yeah.
And so these sort of middle-aged white cishet men are reacting to a world in which suddenly they have no control over what's happening and don't understand that they can't do anything about it because it's happening on the internet, which is, you know, essentially the wild, wild west. I don't think this movie is about cancel culture either, but I do think it's interested in a certain way. You know, we've always had movies about mob justice and how people and groups like to find a supposedly quote unquote moral reason to punish their fellow citizens. And so this movie does explore the way that people, I think, do that through the internet in a specific way. But that's not the same as cancel. It's like, it's sort of like, you know, a famous person or quasi-famous person or just a big account will get in trouble on Twitter because someone will unearth these tweets that they did 12 years ago, which may or may not be honestly horrible. But that fails to take into consideration that humor on the internet was completely different 12 years ago. Everything, our whole culture was different.
Yeah, exactly.
And no one ever stops to ask, like, well, who took the time to find these old tweets and why? You know what I mean? And so that's sort of like, that's sort of what this movie is getting at. Like, who's really right here? Like, what is moral?
This movie really does.
Who should be punished?
Feel like taking. This movie feels like Dr. Frankenstein animating a Twitter comment section, a Twitter discourse section, bringing it to life into like flesh and blood, and being like, "Here you go. That's what it is. Have fun, kids." Long story short, that's why I'm not on Twitter, you fucking jackasses.
I hate Twitter so much, and I'm so addicted to it, and I'm afraid to leave it. But this movie truly is every single issue, political and sociological, that I'm anxious about in one package. It's like I was really scared to do this episode because these issues make me feel really vulnerable and frankly old, which no one wants to feel.
I don't think you're old at all. I think talking about these issues is good and important and something we should all be doing.
I agree, but it's just so, our culture's so tribal now that it's like some certain things are sacred cows to the left such that they can't be questioned or talked about. And if you do, and I'm, you know, I think most of the people that listen to our show and both of us are progressive. So I'm only talking about sort of our side of the fence.
Yeah.
Because I know that this exists on the right. I just can't speak to that because I don't truly, at this point in my life, I don't know anyone who is right.
And I don't,
you know
I don't
mean?
fucking
Like,
care to.
I don't particularly care to. But I mean, there are things on the left that are like untouchable, unquestionable. And if you have doubts about them, you start to feel like, oh, am I Bill Maher or something? Like, am I this gross middle-aged like libertarian? And I don't want to feel that way because I don't think I am. But just the way that our culture exists right now, you have to kind of fall in line. And if you don't, you have somehow committed a sin and have to be punished. That's how it feels. And yeah, I don't know. I just feel gross talking about it even now. I just feel like, oh, I'm so anxious.
I mean, I don't feel that's the way at all, but again, I'm, not on Twitter anymore. I just feel like our only, I don't know. I'm very old school in the way that I approach a lot of these ideas because I guess I approach them from a perspective of like my lived experience and the lived experience of the people around me, and the empathy that I have for people in similar situations as me. And so any topics that are like buzzworthy topics and what's going on, whenever I hear, and it's also part of the reason why I left Twitter, is whenever like something happens or something's being discussed, I don't go to Twitter to like check the temperature on it. I don't like, that's not where I go to check the pulse.
Yeah.
I talk to the people in my life who are connected to this thing. So like, I was talking to my Ukrainian ex about like the war in Ukraine. Like when trans topics come up, I'm like more than happy to talk about that stuff with friends or people in my life to give them, a trans person's take on it. And like, I don't know, I think that's a pretty easy thing to do and something that not enough people are doing in this fucking world, and like actually taking a step outside of themselves and being like, wait a minute, what is this? Who does this affect? Who do I know? How
that's what this movie is about, right? It's about empathy in the internet and how, you and I can have a really nuanced conversation in person about incredibly difficult topics. But the second that you try to have those on Twitter, your ability to talk about them goes away because there's no room for empathy, and the algorithm rewards negativity. And I'm guilty of that too. I sometimes look for things that I know are going to make me mad on Twitter because my brain is now wired to think that.
Oh, that's a bad
I know
move.
People are going to, it's awful. It's like, I know people are going to be moralizing about such and such a subject. So I just want to see it happen. And so it drives me truly insane. And, this movie just touches on all that really smartly.
Yeah. I feel sociopathic for saying that I find Assassination Nation fun.
Oh, it's super fun.
But it's super fun.
Super fun.
Like, it's very dark, it's very upsetting, it's very suspenseful, it's very stressful, but it's also super fun. Like, this movie, much like Barbarian, does a very good job of all the tension it builds up. The release of it is with cheers, joy, and laughter, which I think is really important to keep in mind, that is the tone of this movie. I don't know. I think Assassination Nation is very, very, very good. I think more people should see it, and I think more people should be having conversations about it with one another and not on Twitter. Again, one of the problems with Twitter is that there's no eraser, there's no like edit to things, so there's a lot of like self-consciousness about what you put into thought on the internet in that way, because it can be dredged up and it can be talked about and taken out of context and stuff like that. Whereas with a conversation, you can talk about these active thoughts and these ideas that are coming out of you with someone else, and you can like learn and build in a way that a conversation does. You can't actively have a conversation in a way that conversations are supposed to work on the internet, especially not on Twitter. And all of the negative reviews that I read on Letterboxd of Assassination Nation all seem to just be saying, this movie's gross, this movie's exploitative, this movie's sexist, how is this movie doing one thing and also trying to do this other? It doesn't work. This movie's not realistic, this movie's... And I'm like, this all just feels like you haven't seen the movie. Or you haven't talked to anyone about the movie. This feels like you saw clips, you didn't finish it, or you went in with the foreknowledge of someone else's opinion on it.
Well, it's like the sacred cow thing, too. I feel like it's people who are like, assuming that this is a conservative movie making fun of like trigger warnings and other things like that when it's not that at all. And, I saw the term edgelord a lot, which again, I don't really like that term because I feel like there's a lot of people right now who don't want provocative work to be made at all. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like that's where that term comes from. Like John Waters is sometimes described as an edgelord. Like I don't know. It's a term that bothers me because I feel like people are trying to avoid provocative films.
I mean, I use the term edgelord, but I use it to very specifically describe cis hetero white men in their late teens, early 20s that bring up controversial topics just to get a rise out of people for a bad reason. I think,
right, like 4chan territory.
Yeah, which, like, surprise, 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 the ultimate, like, villain of this movie is that. Which, it's so like funny. I find the, like, end reveal at the end of this movie so funny.
I loved it so much. People did not like that on Letterboxd either. I thought it was really
funny. A lot of people hate that, but I feel like it's fitting in the theme of this movie's takedown on a lot of men. Like...
Yeah.
But no, like, controversial work should be made, and I honestly think that Assassination Nation ages like a fine wine and is going to be looked back on in 15, 20 years as being a good, modern, controversial film. Do I think the rest of Sam Levinson's output will be? I don't think so. The Idol looks like trash, and I only saw the one season of Euphoria. I have no desire to go further. It's too close to home for me. That show is way too close to my lived experience. I don't need to watch a fucking show of it. But Assassination Nation is very good. Very much has its finger on the pulse in a way that's, like, thoughtful and entertaining. In a way that I can't think of anything else that's done what this is doing since, like, the 70s.
Yeah. Or maybe, like, Heathers is a good comp.
Heathers is a good comp, that's true. But I don't think Heathers...
my favorite teen comedy of all time.
Yeah. But I don't think Heathers is as vicious as this.
No.
Heathers is vicious.
Saying a lot because for years I was like, are we not going to have any more mean teen comedies? It's like, is that just not going to happen? And this really does one up it.
I've also been describing Assassination Nation to friends lately as, like, if you could imagine a perfect midpoint between Barbarian and Do Revenge, it's Assassination Nation.
I can't wait to see Do Revenge. I need to see that. Let's shift focus and have a very quick game of Have They Seen It? The game where we speculate wildly whether notable figures have seen the movie. Just because we're very over time, we've had a great conversation. I have someone in mind. We just mentioned Heathers. Do you think Shannon Doherty has seen Assassination Nation?
Oh my god. So I don't know. I'm gonna say no. Shannon Doherty has not seen Assassination Nation. But I'm going to say that Shannon Doherty and Sarah Michelle Gellar, who are friends in real life, who are good friends, have both watched Euphoria together.
I feel like that's true.
Yes.
For sure. I know that Sarah, at least, has a teenager because that teenager, or a couple teenagers, because they go to my boyfriend's school between us.
Really?
I don't know their names or anything about them, but yes, where my boyfriend teaches.
Oh, that's cute.
So I feel like they probably have watched Euphoria, which means Sarah probably has too. She seems like a good mom who would, like, sit down and check out what her kids are watching. I don't think Shannon Doherty has kids. I don't know if this is true, but I've always heard that Shannon Doherty didn't understand that Heathers was a satire and was surprised when people laughed during the premiere because she thought it was, like, a really serious film about bullying.
Oh,
I don't know if that's true, but I think it's
baby
funny.
child. Okay. What's her take on Charmed then?
God knows.
Yeah, God only knows. Did she, like, find out midway through Charmed what it was really about, and that's why she left?
Yeah, she's like, I can't do this. I'm a Christian. I don't know. She's actually probably not.
Wait a minute. This is about witches.
Witches? Oh no.
Oh no. That was in my contract.
Do you have anyone for me?
Yeah. So this is someone that we brought up, who is someone that famously I would describe as an edgelord, and who has was viewed as a sacred cow of the left politics for many, many years, and is only finally very recently being viewed as, wait a minute, scumbag piece of shit, and is very much more right-wing than anything. And is someone who loves to make fun of Gen Z, and is someone who's also incredibly actively transphobic. Do you think Bill Maher has seen Assassination Nation? Former stand-up comedian Bill Maher.
Former stand-up. He still does stand-up on his show like every week. I think he's still doing
stand-up. He did a stand-up special recently, too, I guess, which was also incredibly transphobic. Okay.
Can't imagine. Whenever I'm insecure about Gen Z, I feel like, oh no, am I Bill Maher? Like, he's always the example that I go to. Because I really don't want to be like that. I always want to think of myself as a kind, progressive, cool person. And so I'm really fighting actively against becoming Bill Maher. So in answer to your question, I think no. I think he has seen Euphoria again because HBO, his show is on HBO. I don't know. It's like, I feel like he would like maybe hate watch Euphoria a couple of episodes worth or something like that. What do you think?
I don't think he's seen this. I feel like he saw the trailer for this when it came out and would have made fun of it. But I also feel like if he watched the first like 20 minutes or so, he would have been like, yeah, this movie's gonna roast him. Ooh, hoo.
Yeah.
And then he would have gotten to the end and would have been pissed the fuck off.
Yes. I don't think he watches anything that's from a woman's point of view.
No.
I mean, he was famously like always at the Playboy Mansion, and he famously dates like much younger women, stuff like that. And so I just feel like this movie is probably not for him.
No. I feel like he would relate it too much to Joel McHale's character.
Yes.
Yeah. So you know what? Fuck you, Bill Maher.
Sucks.
Yep.
Should we cut it off there? I mean, we've really gone over time.
Yes, we should. We should wrap it up.
Well, listen, if you liked this episode, please rate it on all the things, especially Apple. Let's be honest. You can email us at bloodhousepod@gmail.com. You can follow us on the socials. Drusilla, where can people find you?
Well, as we've discussed, the social media and the internet sucks. So get off Twitter, stay off Twitter. But, you know, I have an Instagram account. It's Hyde Sister. It's the inverse of Sister Hyde. And my art is over at sisterhydedesign.com. What about you, Josh?
At Joshua Conkle on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. And, Drusilla, what are we watching
next week? We are continuing a deep dive of contemporary trans horror films. Inadvertently, I swear to God, I did not plan this. That, you know, may or may not have aged well. We'll find out with Pedro Almodovar's The Skin I Live In.
Can't wait to revisit that one. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.